much you've asked for a better walk-through of the boat to help you understand and see things in reality, and us too. We're just seeing the boat sort of shape up. So you find yourself looking right now in our cabin, the master cabin. It's at the very front of the boat. This is as far as the living space of the boat goes. On the other side of this water tank bulkhead is the forepeak space that we've been showing you in other videos. But this is as far forward as the living space goes. So we've got a pretty nice cabin if you want to help yourself with dimensions. Each of these frames is exactly 1 meter apart. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meters of length altogether in here for the room. So very, very good size. There will be cabinetry mostly on both sides. So if I go back up to the front here, this will be all open, and there'll be a sink here for, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, that kind of stuff. Nice big hatch overhead, so lots of light and some breeze coming in, and an open space here. On this side is cabinetry for a washer and dryer that will go in here up fairly close to the ceiling, so at a nice easy height for access. And then that full-size wardrobe continues out to about this frame here, and then drops down a bit so that we've got a hutch height sort of thing laying in here. Drawers mostly down here for clothing, this and that. Artwork can go up here on this wall, and then another big full-height wardrobe here. So this is a full-size queen-size bed. Be a small night table over here. This is going to be my side of the bed, and then a larger night table here on this side for Christine. Glasses, books, reading stuff, and so on and so forth. And then this will just stay open and walled here. We think this would be a great area for hanging up some of the artwork we hope to get friends to contribute to and purchase and whatnot. It's a little difficult to understand for you right now, or at least to get a different sense of the space, because this will eventually get framed in straight up. Up here, the super salon that you're looking at behind me here, or in front of me, back in the boat, is this is the main helm area at the very front and center of the super salon. We'll show you that in a minute, but I'm explaining it to you now so you can understand. This is just a straight wall that comes up here, so this is like the headboard of the den, and another great spot for displaying art and so on. And two very, very large hatches here as well, so lots of natural light. And then, like I say, we'll just leave this mostly open, and then it's framed in with our 2 rooms back here. One for the shower that sits in about this frame that's a little bit more than a meter, and then the toilet or head sits in back here. It's kind of, we're working on interior design as I speak, but right now our thinking is that this will be mostly kind of one space with a glass wall through part of it for the shower, and you'll be able to come in and out of just the head itself, or in and out through a glass door on the outside here to the shower. And the reason for that is we're going to make both this wall of the shower and this wall glass as well, maybe etched some nice pattern in it or something. And the reason for that is there's a very big, beautiful hatch here, and we want to be able to leave that hatch open all the time, i.e. when it's raining. I'm talking about being anchored here. When we're underway, all the hatches are pretty much always closed. But at anchor, it's just wonderful to be able to have this hatch open and not have to worry about it in the rain in the night, if that should happen, because it'll just come in and hit the shower and just get drained out like everything else. So for both light and then a glass door that opens here into the shower, lets a nice breeze come into that hatch and in over top of us, sleeping very soundly in the bed right there. So head, toilet here, shower here, open in the middle, washer, dryer, cabinets on this side, and the queen bed over there. And as Christine turns you around, you'll start to look now and see the staircase, and we can go and take and show you the super salon up above in there. You can see it, but this is a full height, at least in our current thinking, this is a full height wardrobe that sits here. So nice and convenient coming and going from the stairs to be able to get access to this and have a place for clothes to get hung up and storage and that kind of stuff. On the technical note, for those of you that care about that kind of stuff, you can see that they've got the access to the tanks all looked after now. So there's these nice thick 25mm thick frames here for the threaded holes for the lids that eventually get threaded down and closed in there. And this is just simply for when I have access into the tanks on the inside, checking them out, inspect them maybe once in a year. Up in the front here, these tanks are all water, and so we use the water largely for ballast, more so than we use it for potable water. It is all potable water. Every drop of water in the boat comes out of our water maker, so we know its source, we know it's pure, we know it's clean, we know it's got no chemicals in it, and therefore the tanks work very, very well. The odds of having anything get into the tank is pretty low. But if anything should happen, I can get good access to all of the tanks tanks through these access ports, as you can see that they put into here. This area that you see still left open here will also give you some good shot of the construction of the boat. So that's the actual hull plate that you're seeing down there. It's still open right now because this is one of our battery banks. We have two 24-volt battery banks in the boat. They'll be parallel together so that they are all treated as essentially one big battery bank. And we're using the batteries, they're huge, 2-volt cell batteries. And there's 12 of them to make up the 24-volt system in here, and then another set in the basement we'll show you in a moment. And by dropping, if you look here, you're looking literally at the hull of the boat, the inside of the hull anyways. And so this is the keel bar that you see down here that we've been talking to you about. So this is 1 inch thick or 25 millimeter aluminum plate that runs like a backbone, the keel bar, all the way down the entire length of the boat. And by dropping our big heavy batteries down here right to that very bottom side, they form part of the ballast to the boat, keeping that weight really, really low and ensuring in part that we have this great stable and self-righting boat if such a necessity should arise. So we can take you up the staircase and show you into the super salon next. Easy. And then we go up these stairs and into the super salon. So we can get Miss Christine to come up and join us here. And I'll just walk you through the layout up top here. So we find ourselves in obviously one of the most spectacular spaces on the boat, at least we happen to think so. As you can see, as you get the tour here, this is, and you've seen it before in blog posts earlier on, this is all 360 degrees of glass window, so it's always lovely and bright and very great view. I'll walk you through the reality of what the layout of the space up here in the super salon is. As I just said to you, this is the main helm station, so this will be kind of like a tabletop sort of area here, large helm chair sitting here, and then this area over here becomes a lounge area. So this is just going to stay open. This will have two nice, big, comfortable reclining lounge chairs in it that are just freestanding. We can move them around. They get fastened in a little bit when they're underway, but they don't move around too much at all. There's a nice large cabinet here that we're still toying with. We might make this our fridge freezer location, or it might be just large drawers for storage, mostly for the galley, which is where you're standing with Christine right now. This staircase here will take you down in a minute. This leads down into the aft cabin, which is a guest cabin for when those of you that come to visit come and stay with us. And most of the time, it's Christine's office, and we'll take you down there in a moment. Again, a little bit misleading space-wise to you because this area that's all open now gets all closed in with cabinetry, and this is a set of stairs. You can see this is the doorway coming in and out of the salon. So there's stairs coming down here, and then stairs that you turn around to go down into the aft cabin. From those stairs over is all galley in this corner over here. This large opening here is to give us great easy access for equipment and ourselves into what we call the basement stage here, but that's just for both storage, all of our electrical components, all sorts of stuff like that, and then a massive amount of fuel tanks that are built into the hull underneath of that. In glass, and none of them open, so they're all nice and sealed. We don't have any leak issues. They're almost an inch thick altogether, so they're actually made to be stronger than and greater impact resistance than as if they were framed in solid aluminum, because the boat's made to be able to survive an entire capsize and be self-righting and come back up again. The back is being left open right now, so this will get framed in. This is also all glass, with of course the exception of the door over here. We're leaving that out right now just to make it a bit easier to move large goods in and out of the boat, but that gets turned into all glass as well. And you can, a little bit of imagination, start to imagine what this is going to be like when that's all beautiful blue, turquoise, Mediterranean, or Pacific, or some other great looking view outside the windows there. Let's go down and show you the back office right now. Okay, so we can't come down the staircase exactly. We've left them out for now while we're doing the construction at this point. But this is obviously another set of stairs that come down pretty much straight in here. And again, you got to use your imagination and look at the model that I'll include a little bit here. But this staircase comes down, and then right here is a hallway that leads back into the workshop and engine room. We'll show you that in a minute here. But just to appreciate that this is a straight open hallway. And then this will be a bench top here that's going to be kind of my clean room bench top for electronics and other things like that. So this will just have a bench countertop type thing sitting out here, a spot that I can get my legs into, and a little chair that swivels in and out, and just places for storage and computers, monitors, that kind of stuff. We've got a big electrical cabinet that we're putting one of our big distribution panels in here, so I've got nice easy access to that from the staircase. And then this will open up into a small hallway in here, because over this side is the toilet, and where you're standing with Christine on the camera is the shower. And then you walk in here. Now there's another door just to keep it private while Christine's working. And now we go into Christine's office and the guest cabin for when people like yourselves come to visit. Layout, you can look at the model for a little bit better indication of. Mostly it's Christine's desk sits up here, so remember there's a wall probably sitting about here. That's the edge of the shower on this side, and then Christine's office desk will start over here. Hatches up above, so light and fresh air for her. We've got a Pullman berth that's going to go up on the top here from the wall out, that will be able to fold down for people to put your rollerboards on, storage and that when we don't need it. It folds up out of the way. And then down here is another queen size bed that folds up into like a futon couch settee type of thing, and then pulls out into a queen size bed. This is cabinetry up in here for the galley, where we were showing you up there before. There is a place where it protrudes in a little bit for like the oven. Will be up in an area over here, and so some of this gets cabinetry. There's a nice big full height wardrobe for clothes sitting here, for example, that gives you space for some of that. And then this is full height headroom over on this side. And just gives us a nice suite. Mostly, like I say, for Christine to work in, so she's got an office for writing more books and just doing what she does and run that business. And then it's a great guest cabin with a twin bed and a Pullman berth, and its own shower and its own head for when you come to visit.
Hi guys. Everything about this boat is firsts for us, and I wanted to share one of my firsts. So those of you who live on boats and sail on boats, you know that we have what we call boat bites. Well, I just got bit for the first time by Mobius. So I was coming down the steps here, and there are some little tiny bits of aluminum weld on here, and it bit me in the ass. My first Mobius boat bite.
This is one of our watertight doors, so this will be a full watertight door and watertight bulkhead. This leads us into the workshop and engine room out of the hallway here by Christine's office. So let's go take a look in there for you. This area here that you're walking through with Christine on the camera right now will be obviously a bit of a hallway, but this has got a countertop. So we have a huge amount of countertop for me in my workshop area here that extends down both sides of the boat here in the aft end of the hull. You can also see while Christine's taking you down the walls that they're right now working on these wire trays is the stage we're at. So the hull itself is pretty much finished. And right now the next priority that they're working on is getting all these trays in place. These get fastened in with rubber insulation and so on. And these just give us great spots for wire ties and pulling down the various cables and wires that go down here. And you can see that they've got places such as this where we can run up overhead and take wiring that we need over to the other side of the boat. In the back area here, the most prominent feature right now, it'll get largely covered up, is the prop tunnel. So you can get a bit of a sense with my feet and me standing here for the sizes that we've got back in this area. This all gets covered in flooring, probably two different heights, a floor height for here. It still gives us overhead clearance headspace-wise, and then a bit more headspace by dropping down one layer in there. This shelf back here is pretty much all for our steering gear. The rudder post and shaft comes up here, so we're way above water level, and that gets all the way welded down through it into the hull. Then the big tiller arm sits here, one big cylinder over here, another one over here, so we've got redundancy, and that's what steers the boat. This is only open to the outside swim step on the back of the boat, so this is where we have our what we call hazmat locker for diesel fuel, oil, paint, things like that, stuff that's smelly, stuff that's maybe flammable, and it's just completely outside the boat. A spare propane tank for our barbecue would be kept in here, for example, so that's what's taking up the space over here. But otherwise, this shelf is our rudder steering shelf here. And then again, we pick up with the countertop that runs the full length of this workshop here, and that will run all the way down the side. If I go up into the forward side of this area, this is where the day tank is going to end up being. So the day tank is getting welded up right now, and it's going to sit in here. It holds, as its name implies, a little bit more than we need for one full day, 24 hours of non-stop running. And so this is where we keep a full tank of fuel enough for one day, and make sure it's super polished and cleaned out, and we know it's a good fuel for sure. And so that sits in here. We've got our big Alpha Laval polishing machine. We've got things like compressors and water makers, that kind of stuff all goes back in here. Lots of valving for controlling which tank we're pulling from and putting it into for either water or for fuel. And again, more of the wire trays that you can see that they're starting to get fitted in here. So you can just start to appreciate, again, each one of these frames is a meter apart, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 meters of length, and gives us a great space for workshop, both mounting some of the equipment but having a spot to work on both sides of the boat. This will give you a bit different perspective of where we were just showing you around, still back here in the workshop. This is that hazmat locker I pointed out earlier. You can see over here the nice big sized engine enclosure so that we keep the engine heat and noise all locked up in there nicely. And then that big countertop area that goes down here with the day tank at the far end. But right now let's take you back out onto the swim step. Okay, so we're coming out. This will be our other opening up this way, probably our watertight door. This is walking out onto the back swim step here. It's a great space, as you can see. I think it's about 1 meter or 2, just around 4 feet or so back here. But you can see with me standing on it, it's a great spot for getting in and out of our tender as we come and go. There's stairs that are going to lead up to the aft deck that go up both corners of the aft transom here. This is another watertight door into that hazmat locker we talked about a bit earlier. So another set of stairs over here, and that'll leave our little swim step area nice and open for us for fishing, snorkeling, diving, getting in and out of the tender, that kind of stuff. As you can see, it's really big height here, so it's easy to get in and out of the workshop area. Or we will most often, probably get in and out of the tender for going grocery shopping ashore or stuff like that. This will give you a bit of sense of scale and a different perspective here. I'm standing almost at the very aft end of the aft deck here, so we were showing you around on the swim step, so just to maybe help with the orientation, that's where we were before. This is the head space opening into the workshop and engine room, and then we swing all the way around looking up towards the bow of the boat, and we can see the nice covering over top of the aft area of the aft deck here. This is all covered in, of course, with a big hinged hatch over the top of the engine room, and then you can see the back end of the super salon. So this is the one and only door into the inside of the boat from the outside of the boat, so to speak, other than the one in the workshop at the back there. But day to day, this is where we come and go in and out of the boat. And there will be a circular staircase you can see on the model that winds its way and leads you up to the sky bridge up on the top here, where Captain Christine is practicing running the boat from up in that spot. So we can take you up there and show you around in a moment here. So I'm standing in what will be essentially our helm station up here on the sky bridge. So the staircase comes up here, you walk in, and a big helm chair sitting here, giving you a great view. I can see the bow, I can see the sides of the boat, I can see aft, so I've got great visibility. I'm way up above the water, so I've got great visibility into the water as well. And we'll have a small instrument panel here for display and stuff, but this will be great on night watch, for example, to sit up here. And then when we swing around and take you onto the sky bridge itself, we've just got to leave this space open for now, rather than build in any cabinetry. We're just going to try to play with the boat for the first year or so. So we'll have loose furniture up here, patio furniture, something like that, table and chairs, that sort of thing. Maybe 2 more lounge chairs up here. And then we'll just use the boat for a year or so, see what we like. If we find we're always sitting and eating in the same spots, then we can build stuff in later on. But right now, this just stays open There is a roof over top of here that you're seeing built in the other blog posts, so we'll get protection from rain and stay in the shade when we're out in the tropics, which is our most typical location, and just give us lots of space to have and enjoy the outdoors. This area up in front here, we've talked about a bit before. This is going to get framed in and have 3 large solar panels on it, and there'll be a hinge that runs across here. So this whole solar panel array either folds down and seals to the front edge of the pilot house roof and closes this all in when we're underway. When we stop and anchor, which is most of the time, this gets lifted up so it's horizontal and flat and gives us a great surface for the solar panels. But in addition, that opening that now gets created there forms this huge, beautiful funnel that brings the air back into a big opening that runs across here with demister grills, and that takes the air from that breeze coming over our bow, always over the bow because we're pretty much anchored 99% of the time, and that air, fresh air comes in, goes down through the demister grills and into the super salon down below here. Up top, of course, we're just nice and open to the breezes as we want them. So we'll have sliding fold-in-place acrylic windows in it so that you can get the wind protection if you want it. More solar panels on the back there, 3 more on that roof area back there. So we've got 8 panels on the skybridge roof up on top of me right now, 3 more there and 3 more there. So I'm standing right now where the staircase coming down from the skybridge is going to be, and just giving you a view of the aft deck a little better. All of these vertical posts you see here are just temporary in place while we're working on the overhead roof here, and just to give it some better support. All those come out, and then there's the 2 big vent boxes you've maybe seen in the models. One goes here, one goes over there, and then the big hatch that gets filled in to cover up the engine room area. The headspace spot where you can see Christine leaning against there, and then of course the swim step down aft of that. You've been most recently seeing them building the rub rails that are now all installed here, so you can see that they're finished and all completed all the way from the back end there, and then they run all the way forward. If I can carry you around here. You can see now that they're starting to weld in the stanchions. I'll talk to you about those in the blog post as well. But this is where the stanchions for the lifelines go, and they continue obviously all the way up forward to the very front of the boat up there. Well, we're back down on the shop floor now, as you can see here. So this is the underbelly of Mobius, and we'll just show you quickly what's going on here today. They're starting to now prep the railings. These are the gates that go along the side of the boat. These will get TIG welded up here eventually, and then they fit into similar sockets as do the stanchions. And more of the railings, these ones are for the aft end of the boat, are going to get fitted in here.